Wait, is that real? Wait,
It
damn.
is.
That's you.
We waiting for you. Hey, what's up? What's up? What's
Hey,
up?
y'all.
Okay, so real quick, got a question. Are you in the middle of feeling like there is an energy, specifically someone, that you have to release in order to move forward and you are finding it almost impossible? You know that saying, if you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it's yours. If not, it was never meant to be. So essentially, this is trying to remind all of us the power in letting go of something, releasing something that we love and trusting. But what happens when it's a soul tie? Yeah, all that release it and let it go is real cute until you're dealing with a soul tie. Cutting ties can be, when I say downright gut wrenchingly painful and feel almost impossible to release. But there's a reason for that energetic fear, and there's even a way to release it, to cut a soul cord and still feel good about it. So if y'all want to talk about that, you want to hear about that, stay tuned.
Yes, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. Real quick though. Welcome to Two Queens and Crystal
Welcome.
Things, the podcast where we are on some manifest your life,
Yes.
shift your mind,
Yo, it's happening.
and raise the consciousness type of shit. How you doing? I'm Mia.
And I am Christy, and you can consider us your spiritual girlfriends. All right.
Hey, girlfriend.
Hey, girlfriend. So, 2 episodes ago, we discussed spiritual detachment, which I really hope you all enjoyed this episode. We talked about letting go of the past, and today we are going to continue on the series of releasing. And so, today we're discussing something that, so for quite some time, there's this energy where there's this collective
Come up and yeah.
comeuppance and rebirth happening. Right now, this energy is really heavy and wild, and man. But with all of this energy that we're feeling, it also means that we're in the middle of a transformation. And despite, there are some things that may surface that are feeling uncomfortable, whether or not we are aware of it, it's, the hope for today's episode is that you will embrace the present energy and then create your own moment. And so releasing is a major part of the manifestation process. And today we're going to explore that. And so, what is likely one of the most difficult things to release is
Bum, bum, brrrr.
it's soul ties.
It is.
And we've had a couple of you all reach out to us and talk about just like, what do you do when you have this soul tie? What do you do when you're ready to step away? What do you do when you're ready to just release someone? And so we're going to get into that discussion today.
You know, when Chrissy says we're in the middle of a transformance, it's like for real. We're
happening.
literally transformers
Yes.
right now. Transformers, robots in disguise. Oh, sorry.
That's not the.
Is that it's robots in the sky? No, it's in disguise. Okay. Anyway, okay, I'm sorry. So before we get into really discussing what a spiritual tie, how to work at the energy of a spiritual tie and when it's time to let go and when is a spiritual tie positive, I want to set the framework.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Let's give us an operational definition. So for the purposes of the conversation, we're going to use interchangeably soul tie, a soul cord, soul contract. Because what we're really talking about is the profound spiritual connection between two people.
Yes.
That honestly, it transcends what we would typically call a close relationship. It's something of another level. And so people obviously can form soul ties with romantic partners, but the family members, your close friends, your coworkers, and sometimes even animals.
Yeah.
A soul tie, as opposed to a close relationship, can make you feel like you feel incredibly attached to a person. Like, and the thought of life without them becomes hard to imagine.
Yes.
It's like something you can't even swallow.
Yeah.
You don't even allow yourself to think those. That's the ugliest thought on earth, right?
Been there.
So, but also, I want to keep in mind, soul ties can be incredibly beautiful and uplifting, and or they can be more chaotic, toxic, and destructive in our lives. So when we talk about soul ties, we don't want to take the approach that all soul ties are negative,
Right.
because there are some very beautiful and uplifting soul ties that make beautiful differences in our lives, and we're going to get into both of them. So.
Okay, so after all of that, some of you may wonder, so how do you even, like, how is it even created? How is a soul tie created?
Ooh,
And
child.
honestly, there are several ways.
Yes.
You know, a soul tie can happen without us, we just unexpectedly, it can happen without warning.
Yeah.
And it is the manifestation of two people sharing a very intense connection. And also,
It takes
I would
two
like
to
to say,
tango.
it does, but I would also like to add a familiar and intense connection. Because when you have that soul tie with someone, like their energy feels so familiar. It's like, you know, I know you. And it's beyond me saying I know you. It's like, I know you.
Right. It's
Like we know, like we are not new to this. We are true to this.
like I feel like it's more of like I feel you.
Yeah.
It's like there's
I
some
really do.
people. It's like I know you, but then it's like I know you in a way that I can feel
Right.
you.
Yep.
Oof.
And honestly, sometimes this connection, it can develop right away. But with other people, it can just, when you meet them, it can happen gradually. But so for a soul tie to occur, both people must equally feel the energy and the gravity of the relationship.
Yeah. So a soul tie is not you independently being obsessed with someone.
No, that's crazy. That's cray cray.
That's not what we're talking about. When a soul tie is when there is a connection, a tie that both of you all feel, and there's a tug and a pull to it. There's a reason. It's like, why can't neither one of you is able to walk away from this? Even you know what I mean. So let's just
I've been there, and it's so hard. And it's like you leave, like you step away, and it's like it just pulls you right back. And it's like you can't
like
even
a moth to a flame
Right.
by the fire.
and I just no control. No control. Okay, so let's
No, seriously. But go ahead.
But okay, so let's also remember that there are different situations and relationship dynamics, and I think this is also very important too, because some people, I mean, you mentioned it earlier, soul ties don't just happen romantically, but it can be familial, it can be with your animal.
Yeah.
But the dynamics can be different, and the situations can be different. So, for instance, physical soul tie. So, let's talk about physical connection. Think about including the sexual chemistry.
Yeah.
I will say that's probably one of the strongest soul ties that a person has to deal with. The sexual soul tie.
Because I hopefully we'll be able to get into a little bit more. But honestly, the sexual, after studying, learning, cutting soul ties, I think this is why I would say I am not a fan. For me, it won't casual sex cannot work for me in any way, shape, or form, because I know all too well what the hell we're doing when we are engaging in intercourse, and it's
deep,
and because of, you know what I mean, like, so I can't.
Yeah.
It's just the casualness of just for the sake of the physical, this inside.
No thanks.
Because I know what comes behind that. I'm gonna talk about some soul ties. Remember those
no
sexually transmitted
demons.
Like I'm.
No,
so
thank you.
yeah.
It's
But
not
anyway,
worth
what are
it.
some other dynamics, Christy?
Emotional. So
Yeah.
strong feelings of closeness and attachment. I will say that there was a soul tie that I have, and I could feel when this person was around. I mean, we lived in different parts of the city, but I could feel when I was about to pass his car. Like I could feel it. I could just like, okay, yep, he's somewhere in the vicinity,
Mm-hmm.
or I know I'm gonna run into him, which had happened. So those type of like strong feelings, also mental connections that are based on shared interest, intellectualism, and this deep sense of kinship. Again, you just feel like I know you. It's like we have this connection, and then also spiritual and often connected to mutual religious or spiritual beliefs. So those are the dynamics.
All of these, which are, when you think about, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, even by themselves, they are very strong ways to tie to each other. Because, we talk about emotional cheating. Is that cheating if you haven't physically done anything, but there's an emotional connection? It depends on you. You know what I mean? But when then you have the soul ties where it could hit either of the, all of the four ones. Like, you guys, this is not a game. It's really,
there are layers to this.
There's definitely some layers to this. Okay. Christy, right before we started recording, you asked, you were talking about do you think you can have soul ties from past lives? Is that what? So I think most of the time when people hear soul ties or soul cords or contracts, they think of someone that you've done this with in a prior life. Yeah. Like we came into this with this soul tie. And that is true. But there is also that you can create a soul tie with anyone. True. So that does not predate this timeline, this life that you're in. So you can connect with someone and have a soul tie because, again, the four relationship dynamics that Christy just went through. Think about, a physical relationship, someone that, there's, you meet someone and all of a sudden there's a close attachment to them, especially the mental ones, because of shared interest, you just kind of, there's a kinship that's built there. So there are obviously ways and opportunities that these things can be created. It's not just prior to this lifetime or in before we reincarnated here. Right. So yes, you could have been creating and probably have created several soul ties within your life that weren't created in your spiritual form. Let me just say that. How about that?
That's easy.
There you
That's
go.
Easy.
Bam.
So did you break down, and I might have missed it, I apologize, it's been a long day. Did you break down the difference between a soul tie, the soul cord, and the contract?
So what I was saying was, for the purpose of what I said at the beginning, was for the purpose of the conversation, I'm using them interchangeably. Okay. So it's a soul tie, a soul cord. We're talking about that very close spiritual
Okay.
Got it? Okay, cool. Got it. So just real quick, I'm going to talk about, so when you have a soul tie or like this bond. So Christy, you just hit on this. You said, when you were driving, you would know I'm going to see them. I can, Yep. So when you have a soul bond with someone, there are times where we are subconsciously and telepathically communicating with them all the time. And oftentimes these relationships will mirror each other. So whatever you're going through, they're going through. Yeah. What you're experiencing, they're experiencing. So there's an energetic exchange when you have a soul tie with someone, especially one that is, I would say probably one that is more spiritual in nature. There is this telepathic, I can always connect and contact with you. So, and oftentimes I think when you have a soul tie with someone on a spiritual level, what happens is, especially let's talk about a romantic relationship, because you can hear and see parts of them that are not showing up in the 3D world, sometimes you're in a relationship with a higher version of themselves. Like you are basing I can't disconnect from this because this is who this person is, instead of being honest with what is in the 3D. Like that might be who that person is spiritually, but that has not translated to the 3D. So what you're dealing with is an asshole.
So you know what that sounds like to me? It sounds like a person who was like attracted to a person's potential.
Absolutely. It's very much so the same thing. But if the only thing is it feels a little different because this is real. Like this is actually a for real part of who this person is, but for whatever is happening with them in the 3D realm, they're not ready to embrace that. So what will happen is we will suffer and sacrifice because we're waiting for them to remember who the fuck they
Don't do that.
who the hell they are.
Don't do that.
And what happens is then start to betray you. So we'll go back to the proverb that we said at the very beginning of this. If you love something, let it go. If it comes back, it's meant to be. And if it doesn't, it wasn't. Like it's very, you know what I mean? So
that's easy.
That's easier said than done. Right. That's the trust in that. Because there's something to that. And then, you can start getting obsessive with each other.
Oh, I've been there. Where it's just like that new feeling of like puppy love almost, like the honeymoon stage. And it's like every moment you were thinking of that person and thinking of them, or thinking of the last time you were with them, or thinking of the last time that you were with them and you had sex, or thinking of the last time they kissed you, thinking of the last time when they held you, touched you. I remember just having these obsessive thoughts, and I just could not. The thought of not having that person in my life, it created so much pain. I mean, now I'm still with that person. If we were to separate, I would still have like a hard time, but I also look at things differently. I wouldn't feel like I was then.
I got you.
But I did also cut the cord during one of our ceremonies.
So wait, no. But let me tell you, I'm so glad you brought that. You about to be the case study today, because we're gonna. No, seriously, because I know that oftentimes the reason that people don't want to cut cords with someone that they love is they're afraid that they're cutting the relationship. It's like, oh my God, that sounds terrible. Like I'm cutting the relationship. But what you're doing essentially is cutting the piece of that piece of cord. You are disconnecting from that negative energy. It's like I disconnect from that. Now, if they continue to operate in that negative energy that you have cut, then they will not be able to connect with you. But if they are able to disconnect from that negative energy that you disconnected with and move to a different place, this can still be here. So honestly,
that's interesting.
So I want to talk about that. Okay. So
got me thinking.
Right? No, I'm so glad you brought that up. So you can so when sometimes when I think about like the obsessive thoughts,
it was bad.
It's like you're having conversations with them, in the 3D, and they're not there. It's like it's everything is based on what they're doing. Like every decision. So,
everything.
Okay, what time do I want it? I'm hungry. Should I eat? Well, wait, let me think. Did so-and-so eat? Let me blah, 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 blah. And, even if that person isn't connecting with you, you can feel so close and connected to the person and they're not reciprocating that energy. And it just chips away at you a little bit more because it's like a gambling addict. It's like, I know I keep losing, but I mean, one of these hands got to hit.
The next one.
And so,
and then it's the next
and after a certain time, you feel like I've invested so much into this shit. I can't let this go now. And now you looking, it's years down the line, and you are in the same position because you have not released that negative energy. Guess what? They still holding on to it too.
Yeah.
So that obsessiveness would get to you. Woo, child.
So I will say that after I cut the cord, things are much healthier. I do feel like there was a point in time where the connection wasn't very healthy. And so after I did the cord cutting, which he did feel, I mean, he got really, really sick. Like he was pissed. he was trying to call me like, what the hell did you do? But I will say that since I cut the cord, of course we still have a connection, but I do feel like it is more balanced.
Ooh, girl, you are literally like,
I
yes,
feel like
come on, man.
Not so compulsive. It's not as impulsive. It's healthy. It's balanced.
So, okay. To Christy's point, so I'm just gonna move. We're just gonna move it up. The truth is, when a soul tie has become so toxic, holding on to it is not helpful for either one of you. It's like it's releasing it is. This is gonna sound crazy, but I'm so glad that you're here to describe exactly what we're talking about. But honestly, releasing it is a sign of love.
Yeah.
Releasing the toxic or negative aspect of a relationship, of a soul tie. I like this no longer needs to exist for me. I no longer need to operate in this space. When you hold on to it, they hold on to it.
Right.
And so to free yourself from it, you're freeing both you guys. That's truly love. And as I said, the reason that a lot of people are so afraid to do this is because they think that means I can't just cut this person out of my life.
Yeah, you can.
But when you love them and you want to be with them, that makes it so difficult because you feel like, I know it's right around the corner. It's right around the corner. But sometimes we can be so obsessed to the point that we feel like we have to be there when they have their aha moment, that we have to guide that. Right. We're afraid that if I let it go, and what if he wakes up and understands who he is, and if I'm not there to be with him, then it's not going to be me. Well, bitch, it ain't meant to be you then. Like, you can't control somebody else's journey. And people say, like, I'm not trying to control his journey. I'm just trying to be there to, like, what about, because if you are so focused on somebody else's life, or if you are so focused on a soul tie, that means that you are not focused on your journey. And you can't control another person. It can get to the point where it feels like an addiction. I
agree. I do feel like at some point it did feel like an addiction. And then, again, it just felt out of balance. And then also I feel like I had no control. And once I got to the point where I was ready to cut that cord, I felt like I was more in control of.
So wait, when you say you feel like you had no control, are you talking about over yourself? I want to know what you mean. Like over yourself or over the situation, or you know what I mean? Like, what do you mean?
All of the above.
Cheers.
Like any decision because I was in a situation with him where the timing was not right. But I could not help it. I couldn't. And there were times where the energy was just so overwhelming. I was heart-led. And of course, there were times when my brain logically would come and like, nah, you probably should just step away. But there are times where it was just like, my heart was just, I had no control. Now I can just be like, now if something were to happen and if he were happier being without me, I am happy to let him go. Of course, I'd be sad, but I'm happy to let him go. Before, nah.
Chrissy said, I ain't coming up off of that.
No, and it was not healthy, and I acknowledge that. I was gonna say some other things, but I'm just not gonna.
Sorry. Okay.
But I'll keep that to myself.
Well, think of it from the aspect of weeding a garden.
Yeah.
So you have a garden, and you can look at it as a relationship. The weeds are starting to grow in. So you can say, "Oh, I don't know what's going to happen if I pick the weeds. Like, hopefully the other flowers will overtake the weeds." Weed the dang on garden, and when you weed the garden, you allow it to grow. Now you have created a situation where harmony can exist. Sometimes we have to be the one to pull the plug, to cut the cord, to release it, even though it's painful, because we have to create the space for harmony, balance, positivity to exist. It cannot exist in chaos.
Yep.
You can't have one without the other, but they cannot exist together. They are not mutually inclusive. Somebody has to cut the cord.
And it's not always easy to make that decision because no one goes in wanting to hurt anyone, and it was necessary. So All right, so let me go on the flip side. I know I was kind of talking about the craziness of soul ties and the craziness how I was, but not all soul ties are detrimental. Some of them are very like uplifting and positive, and it can feel or serve like a safety net. It can uplift us, boost our self-confidence and our self-esteem. It can also make us feel like there's just this sense of belonging. Like honestly, like think about when you find your soul tribe, and the connection that you have. You just, when you're around each other, you
Absolutely
uplift each other, you feel good just being around them.
Well, so I think that there are some people who have soul ties with their pets, right?
Yeah.
And think about how what Brantley does to your energy when he do you know what I mean? Like Brantley can't talk.
I think about it all the time. Like,
No,
here's
seriously.
this thing that doesn't even communicate with me, but he does
But
communicate.
there is an energetic
Right.
bond.
Yeah.
Brantley knows when you come off the elevator before you get to your door. Brantley knows that it's you because he can feel you, because he has a soul tie with you. So so that's something that is positive, because it's like this soul tie there. It's almost like you are here to remind me of how dope I am, of how beautiful I am, of to not give up hope, that that I am the master creator of my life, because I created this. This is with me, so I know that I can bring this type of love to me in all aspects of my life.
Oh, I like
It's
that.
like, so when you think about like there might be a coworker where all of a sudden you're just like, they become someone who, like, I don't know, but I know you, and there's this, and then they become this beautiful sounding board for you, like remind you like, girl, you tripping, you dope. And sometimes, so when you have those type of soul ties like that, it's beautiful, because all it is to be a mirror of your beauty for you. So there is this, and it's, how sometimes you ever had a friend or a type of relationship where you could be feeling like just down in the dumps, and you haven't talked to the person in a while, and they just call and be like, hey, I was thinking about you, how you doing? And it's just like,
Well,
damn, how'd you know, man? Let me tell you, you know what I mean? And there's no judgment,
yeah.
and there is a true knowing that they really want goodness for me, nothing but goodness for me, and there's not an expectation of some reciprocity. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's it's not a present with a request. It's just like their presence is a gift in your life, and it is given freely. And sometimes we are that for other people as well. Those type of soul ties where you're just like, I know you, and it is an upliftment. It's, they're all lessons and blessings for us. Those are important too, and they happen a lot.
Yeah. I want to repeat something that you said earlier, and hopefully I can articulate it the way in which you did, because I thought it was a really beautiful reminder. Going back to Brantley, or even looking at River, you have this animal that you have this beautiful connection with. It's a reminder to you that you can attract those beautiful things.
Yes.
There's this thing that just loves you so much unconditionally, is there for you, comforts you, supports you, can feel everything that you're going through, and is all like, every time you walk in the door, it's just like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to see you. That energy, that you can actually create that. You can attract that. Right.
You've already.
That is so. Oh, that's such a beautiful reminder.
And I think it also reminds. It's a good reminder, especially with pets, that they there's a love given, and you didn't have to do anything to change yourself. You didn't have to lose any weight. You didn't have to have a certain amount of money.
Nope.
You didn't have to dress like they want to. You didn't have to do all type of flips. Just your presence is enough for them to love you.
Oh, that's so
and that's
beautiful.
how everybody should feel. Like,
That's a good
I don't want
reminder.
somebody that that just that if my presence isn't what you love, you don't trick yourself into like, oh well, I like don't. It's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I want everyone to, I think, like from my perspective, I think it's more important now at this stage that, especially in a romantic relationship, it's that they're choosing to be, not
Yeah.
they have to do something to get to a place. That I don't want to change you to love me, and I'm not going to change and I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I
Yep.
don't want to change. You don't have to change. Like, it's something, that part is should be the easy part.
Yeah. I don't want to force anyone to be with
No.
me.
Whack.
If you are ready
Like,
to go,
please.
by all means.
Oh my
I loved
goodness.
you, and I'm happy that
And
we
I'm
had the
still,
time.
and here's the thing. At this point, if I say that I love you, I love you. Despite what type of relationship we have. Even if that relationship changed. We could have been, partners, and now we're friends, or, now we're not, it doesn't matter. I still love you because
Yeah.
my love is not conditional. The dynamic of our relationship changes with the conditions, but the love does not. And then when you learn that you can love somebody and not be with them, that's some powerful shit.
That is.
Because when you are able to love someone despite what they have done or hurt you, that is when you are love. I don't change because of you. I can respond to your energy and how you treat me, but I'm not all of a sudden gonna be like, I can't stand that, because then that means I've been lying to myself. I didn't really love you if I can change like that, and not, you know what I mean? Like, if
Yeah.
my feelings can change. When we
That's
love
true.
people, we connect with people. There's something about that person, especially when we love someone, that we see in them that is of ourselves. So if you truly love somebody, and you're no longer in a relationship with them, all of a sudden that piece of yourself that you saw them, you don't love that piece of yourself either. We got to be honest with ourselves. Everything you don't.
You are
like,
spitting facts
I-
today.
I'm just saying. I think we need to. The more honest we are with ourselves about what it is that we truly want and desire, and be honest with ourselves that we know that we deserve everything that we desire.
Right.
And we are willing to allow that energy to come to us because we are that. What we desire, we already are. And anytime we are accepting something that is not of that same ilk, then we confuse the energy, not them. They're just being who they are.
That's true.
Anyway, sorry.
No, this was
I
good.
got a little tangential.
No, it was good though. And also just some really great reminders. Okay, so a sign that a soul tie has become toxic. Bum, bum, bum.
Okay.
Feeling afraid to let go. We actually talked about this earlier. It's like, man, I
Yeah.
invested all this time, this energy,
Oh, you know the saying.
I trained.
I trained him.
I trained
What if
him.
what if I let him go and the next girl get all that stuff
Right.
child,
That I worked so hard for.
that I worked so
That he's not giving me, but I'm afraid that he's going to give it to the next person. But that's something else.
Yeah, don't get mad at us because you've said it.
Right. Another sign that a soul tie has become too toxic is feeling like you'd prefer to suffer than let someone be in another relationship.
It's like
It's like, no, I'm not letting this
happy.
go.
Right. It's
If I'm unhappy, you're going to be unhappy.
Thank-
We're going to both be
be
unhappy.
When I think about it, you could be in a relationship with someone and really cannot stand them, but you can't stand them so much that you don't want to allow them to be happy. So it's like, I'm suffering, you gonna suffer, and we gonna suffer together. And so it's like you're always thinking about it from their perspective instead of thinking like, I can release myself.
Right.
But you're always thinking pain, punishment, and that's when a soul tie gets too toxic. Like you can't.
Right.
You can't separate your own needs and desires from the suffering of theirs. That's a good one.
If I can't be happy, you can't be happy.
Yep.
Obsessive thoughts, we talked about that before. And then also wanting to control their journey, like what they're going to do, what they're, who they're dating, who they're being with, where you can't control any of that. But just those are some signs.
Have you ever tried to push anyone in your life to heal? Like you can see them going through a journey and you want it to go a little bit faster. Have you ever? And even if it, let's just for the sake of the argument say the intentions were good and pure. Like I want to help this person.
Oh yeah.
And,
At
you know what I
first
mean?
I
Not
was
that
like,
you're
I can't think of
not in
it.
a negative, but intentionally, it's like I want you to.
Yeah.
And you know how sometimes
I
we'll
want to kind of like, here's a hint. hurry up and get the
like
lesson.
catch up. Right? Yes.
Here's a hint. Just take that. Read that.
I think that even something like that, when you have the best of intentions, that's trying to control somebody's journey.
Yeah, and my guys, my guys specifically were like, nope. They need to learn this on their own. So I'm like, okay,
I just got that one. Real quick, you guys, please make sure you are following us on IG.
Yes, please.
At Two Queens Crystal Things. We love talking to you all and hearing you guys' messages, and we do respond to all of the messages, and we get some of our topics are inspired by what you guys are sharing with us. So please make sure you follow us on IG if you are not.
And YouTube.
And YouTube.
And subscribe.
Yes, we have recently started adding posting our episodes on YouTube, and every other week we do video on YouTube. So please subscribe, like, share, review, all that good stuff.
And you all need to let us know with these videos. Do you like them? Because we can't tell with the subscription numbers. I'm just saying. You know, do you want more of these videos? Do you want to see us more?
Do you want to see?
Right, because I was told that you did. So, all right.
So we'll do a post on this this week after this episode airs on Friday if you're not listening to it right now. But some signs of, and I'm just going to run through them really quick.
Yeah.
Some signs of an unhealthy soul tie are experiencing separation anxiety when you're not around them.
Yes.
Okay, jealous of all other relationships. Like, I don't care who they talk to.
I don't like the way the grocery bag lady handed you the bag.
Yes,
she touched your hand.
Yes. I mean, why was you on the phone with your mama for so long? Like, you know what I mean? Like, for real. Relying on them as your sole emotional support. It's getting a little unhealthy. Girl, having to know when I say you got the tracker on them, baby. Like if they're not sharing their location, you start all up in the bushes. Need to know where they are and what they're doing at every moment. It's like you need to have every moment accounted for. Something's a little off balance there. Feeling judged or feeling smaller, I should say, after you spend time with them. It's almost like you feel. Like, am I shorter? I feel shorter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, why is it so? It takes something from you. I lost weight. I'm tired. You know what I mean? That's a sign that something is unhealthy. Feeling like, or waking up and realizing, wow, I have changed my whole identity. I am just to be in this relationship. Just, you know what I mean? And think about, even with friends, like girls will completely change their look to be more like the friends. You know what I mean? Yeah. But they will,
been there. Oh my goodness.
Experiencing when they're not around. So it's different from the anxiety. I'm talking about experiencing like an emptiness. Like you don't know who you are without them. There's this sense of loneliness. It's almost like your world stops when they're not in front of you. It's like it begins and ends with them and their presence. Another one is giving up things that you like to do to be in the relationship. Giving up your hobby. So let's say, I told you how I feel about horror films. Like, I really don't like horror films. So if someone has if I'm like, okay, I love horror films. That would be me changing my identity to fit in with someone. But I like I like playing tennis, and this person is like, oh, I hate tennis. So it's like, oh, okay, you know, I guess I just won't play anymore because I'll go play golf with him so that we can be together. So I'm giving up what I want to do to go be, you know, that's an example of something like when you are sacrificing what you want to do, what makes you happy, what makes you feel good, so that you are always in alignment with them.
Right.
That's a little unhealthy.
Can I go off tangent real quick?
Yeah,
It kind of reminds me of
please.
this. Have you seen that video of Michael Jackson when they were interviewing him? And they're like, talk about the tour. And he was like, I hate the tour. I can't stand the tour. The tours drive me crazy. No, no, no. They're like, we can't say that. And they said, okay, cut. We're going to re-record. All right, and action. I love to tour.
Yes, I've heard that video.
It just made me think about that. You know, it's just like, oh, just something that you absolutely don't like. I can't even imagine you saying, I love horror movies.
I mean, like, seriously, it's just
Anyway, I just thought about that.
because basically when you do things like that, it's if you feel the need to not be who you are, to release a piece of yourself that you enjoy in order to keep this relationship or keep the friendship, there is something fundamentally wrong about that, because now what you're doing is saying that their happiness, their joy is more important than yours.
Exactly.
And that's a scary position to be in. It's a slippery slope. And it takes a minute before you wake up and say,
It's like, hold up a minute.
well, it takes, and then when you do, oh, I've been acting a monkey ball for, oh, that's what okay, that, Because the realization of how much you played yourself, you can't even be mad at them. You did this.
I did it to myself.
What is that thing? I'm the problem, it's me.
Yeah. I'm the problem.
And then the last thing is, ooh, child, that's a good one. Feeling the pressure, the peer pressure to do things you wouldn't do for the sake of the other person, for the sake of the relationship. Something you just like, I really don't feel comfortable with this, but I don't want to lose this person, so I'd rather lose myself. I mean, because that's essentially the decision that we've made.
Right. So, What happens when you have all of them except the last one? I've done them all except the last one.
Well, then that means that you recognize that you had an unhealthy soul tie. I have definitely done.
I've done them all except the last.
Look, I'm like the last one I have. A few of them I would say I've sacrificed relationships for a relationship. I have been like feeling like I'm walking on eggshells, and after an interaction, just like I'm exhausted. Like, good Lord, anything that comes out of my mouth is wrong. Jesus, like, it's like, you know what I mean? That type of separation anxiety. I've definitely done that. Yeah. Those are the ones that I've done. So, okay, so let's switch gears. Chrissy, please tell us about what a healthy soul tie looks like. Give us something juicy.
Signs of a healthy soul tie include, and I'm going to run through these as well, feeling energized after spending time together, feeling an intense sense of safety in their presence.
Oh, girl, please. That's one of the sexiest things on earth to me.
Hold me. Having the desire to be vulnerable when you're around them. And that's that feeling of safety, and you can just be yourself.
That's so sexy to me.
It really is. Experiencing a level of protectiveness over their well-being, feeling like you can truly be yourself. Now, I mean, I can be goofy. So if I can be goofy around you, like my goofy self, you're a keeper. Experiencing mutual feelings of empathy and respect for one another, having the desire to nurture the relationship as best as you can, feeling like you're deeply understood, wanting to include them in your life as much as possible. Those are some really healthy signs of a healthy soul tie.
So before we get into the temple work, because I'm pulling it forward because this is actually an exercise of releasing a soul tie. But before I get into that, Chrissy, do you mind sharing? I'm sorry. The ritual that you did when you did your cord cutting. You don't have to get specific, but just, so that they could repeat it for whatever it is that if you feel comfortable.
Yes, I do feel comfortable.
Thank you, Christy. I had a feeling.
So I'll share. So this was during one of our plant medicine journeys, and honestly, what I did is I visualized honestly, a lot of this spiritual work. A lot of spiritual work is about visualization. So I visualized this cord connecting me and the other person, and I envisioned like a white light or a white laser, something sharp. And I basically envisioned like this light coming down and saying that I'm ready to sever this connection with this person. And so I visualized this light severing the cord. And I also envisioned the cords kind of dissolving and, going back to that side and going back to my side. So, but apparently it was felt because I woke up and he was not happy.
Did you when you were imagining the laser that was cutting, did you name the cord or say what the cord was, or did you just visualize the other person?
I visualized the other person.
Okay.
I mean, this is like the only soul tie that I've had, but and the cord was thick. And I think that's another thing too, like depending on how strong your connection may be with the person, it can be a cord where it's just like, oh, okay, I can just snap it or something. But this one, I really needed like light, and I couldn't really, I didn't use the right words, but it was light, like a sheet of light to cut the cord. But
thank you.
You're welcome.
So here is another way. We do want to give you guys some ideas. I appreciate you sharing that, and also because we know the end result. But here is another one. I think this is get into a meditative state, where you are relaxed, whether or not you take any herbal magic to get you there. If you do breathing exercises, whatever works for you to get you into whatever works for your meditative practice. And the thing really is to get connected with yourself. So get to the point where you can completely feel yourself. And then I want you to visualize, to have, with your eyes closed, see yourself and feel yourself. And what you're going to do is visualize that person in front of you. So say you're sitting in a lotus position. And then once you are connected with yourself, all you're doing is put the visual of the person who you are cutting the soul tie with in front of you. So this is very similar to what you said, Christy. And what you're going to do is scan your body with the visual of them in front of you. And because you are connected with yourself, what you're going to do is energetically scan your body to where you feel the pull, where you feel, and you're going to connect it to your chakras.
I like that.
So if you're sitting there in a lotus and you're connected to your body, you can start to scan your chakras from the root going up. You know what? I'll do a chakra post just to remind people on Two Queens Crystal things. Just so you can see, I'll do a reel for chakras, just so you could, what they where they are. The system starts at the root and goes to your crown. We're talking about the main 7 chakras here and what they stand for. So before you do this exercise, anyway, so as you're sitting there. Now, you're connected with yourself, so you know how that person makes you feel and where it's hitting. So if it hits your root chakra and there's like some level of pain there, that could mean that where this person is hurting you is at the root chakra. You feel unsafe. There is something there that there's a lack of security either within the relationship or how you feel with that person. You can literally, it's like grab that cord. So now you're connected with these chakra to chakra, they're from them to your chakras. So where the chakra you feel like this has to go, you can take that piece off. Okay. So if it's like, I need to let go of this relationship in the way that like where it's not so connected to my heart. Like I'm making all of my decisions from my heart based on how it feels for this person instead of me. I need to release that. So it's almost like you twist that one, cut it, break it, whatever way it helps you visualize, let that go. So you're getting rid of that piece.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully this will help to alleviate some of the fear that you're cutting a person out of your life. Scan your body, go up your chakras, and cut where it is that it is painful for you. So cut the negative aspect of that soul tie.
And I will say, that's a really great method. I've never tried that one. I actually never heard of it. And there are so many different ways that you can cut a tie or cord. Some people burn candles and have like a cord around the candle.
Yeah, man, that's
And it's
a good
really
one too.
interesting because sometimes the way that the candle burns, you can tell which one of the relationship is the more like,
I did.
you're going nowhere.
I did a candle one too. I wonder if I still have that video. I'll probably post that too on Two Queens of Crystal Things. I've done that before.
Yeah. But it's really interesting, and it does work. It does
yeah,
work.
no, it does. So those are just two ideas. Again, it's your temple work. This is like, self mastery, getting to know and love you, and releasing the theme of these last 3 episodes that we have done. Releasing what no longer serves you. So we've talked about releasing your own past, your own behaviors. We've talked about releasing. Let me see. What did we do before that? Shoot, Christy, I can't remember.
Spiritual attachment.
Practicing spiritual detachment, which means sometimes you have to release things in order to be able to walk detached, and what that means for you. And now we're talking about soul ties, which is something that is very difficult to release. And when can you release it? What does it mean to release it? How does that work for you? So we want to just provide some practical ways for you to incorporate this into your journey, into your practice. But please feel free to look up other ways to cut a cord, cut a soul tie, find something that resonates with you. Yep. We just want to give a couple.
Yeah, this was good.
Yeah.
And I guess I completely forgot about the cord that I had, but I hope this was helpful for you all. So what's your takeaway?
Man, Chrissy, that's honestly, you guys, I think in the soul tie situation, if you are coming to a point where you feel like, oh my goodness, I have to choose them or me. In this situation, I have to choose am I going to choose them over me? That's a sign that you're in an unhealthy soul tie. Even if you're asking yourself that question, and understand that cutting a cord does not necessarily mean you are completely cutting a person out of your life. Sometimes cutting a cord is making space for new energy to exist between you and a person.
Yes, that part.
So,
my takeaway is, I feel like soul ties, we are spiritual beings, and I feel like our connection to people is going to happen, but use your intuition, and just based on what we discussed, how does it feel? Do you feel depressed or lower than when you're with this person, or do you feel alive and like expanded when you're with this person? So allow that and your intuition to dictate whether or not that soul tie is healthy for you, and if not, you know what to do.
let it go.
Okay, so there are some crystal of the week. We got 4 crystals this week. So one crystal, so each of them have kind of a different purpose for the soul ties and cutting the cords, or, let me get into them. Very quick, abbreviated description. So malachite is a really great crystal for protection. Malachite is that beautiful green. Sometimes it has like these dark lines or waves in it. Beautiful crystal. I'll post some pictures. Aventurine, it's good to work with to build confidence, which is what we need sometimes to break that tie. Amazonite, how do you say that? Amazonite, there you go. Sometimes my syllables, you guys. English is not my first language. I speak alien. Amazonite is a crystal to work with, which will help you to see the truth of your soul tie. Black kyanite. Now, this is my favorite. And I've actually used this for a client who had asked me to help her cut a cord. So black kyanite, it's a really great crystal to use to energetically cut the tie. Like, and it's also kind of looks like a knife. Mm-hmm. It looks like it has like these serrated edges. Anyway, but those are the 4 crystals. We'll post about those, and that is it.
That's so, you guys. This was hopefully this was helpful, and we love speaking to you guys. Thank you to you all who send us messages, send us reviews. You have several ways to listen to us or watch us. We are now on YouTube, so please check us out there if you enjoy listening on YouTube. And also, we are still on our other podcast platforms, iHeart, Apple Podcasts,
Yeah, there's like 15,
Google
16
Podcasts.
There's a lot.
So there are a lot of places where you can listen to us and join in on the conversation. We really appreciate you guys.
We do.
And
please, can I just one more ask? Please. And some of you will probably already dropped off. Leave reviews. These reviews are so helpful for us. We love to read them. It lets us know the work that we're doing and the time and the effort, the energy that we're putting into this podcast is actually helping. So please just share with us, like, how is the podcast helping? Give us rate us, any of that stuff. But just want to put that out.
Thank you, Christine. We really do appreciate that. And as we always say,
yes,
light, peace, love, and soul. Love you guys. Till next week. Wait, not the stank face.